It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Get in the building.
Yo. Good morning.
Before you greet anybody, I have a vexation for the ladies of Your View. I came here angry. Your View ladies,
what's angry?
Let me tell you this morning.
Hello, sir.
If you do not adhere to the master plan of Your View, you will go down. You will go down. You didn't get the joke. You will go down.
Fool, yeah. She said, don't mind her. She got the joke.
You didn't get the joke.
You know she's a wicked person.
Yes. You guys are done. You fell my hand. You didn't get the joke.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I got it.
You got it, but you didn't laugh.
You know I'm not a wicked fan.
Anyway, how you doing, Waike? Let me come to you. Nothing major.
Just I forgot to say last week that I actually enjoyed myself in Togo. It was really peaceful. And, you know, maybe we need to start exploring more of our African and
I've been to Togo before. There's their food, Ebriku, I think, some long thing like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
The one I know is ablu.
Yes.
Hey, God, ablu with pepper and fish. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's been a long time, but I was a kid.
And then, because I spoke about the trip, one blogger or something carried it that I said the checkpoints were in Togo. The checkpoints were not in Togo. The checkpoints were in Nigeria.
Get your information, get your facts right.
The checkpoints were after I left the border. You know, you pass the border, fine. It is after the border.
You don't start saying...
Please. You should be watching TVC Connect. Go and watch it yourself and hear what she said.
Don't copy.
Laziness, just copy off from somewhere and
Sometimes
just go
and it was here that we had 34 checkpoints, and I hope the new minister, whoever the minister is going to now go
do it properly
and remove all those people.
Yeah.
Pay them well so they don't have to be there.
Also, don't forget security. Also, there are people smuggling every single day. Also,
I saw smuggling cars there. Nobody was touching them.
You have to solve that problem. And talk about come to you. How are you doing?
I am very, very good. This Saturday, Adesua Clement Odige finished from Benson Idahosa University with a first class in economics, and we're so excited. Congratulations, Adesua. We call her Mimi. My mother-in-law, bless her soul, she doesn't have a lot of female children or grandchildren. Yeah. They are just two female grandchildren. And Mimi is the first one. And she made everybody proud, finishing with first class. Like, we already knew she was going to be there. So it was just really like, Mimi, you need to, whatever it is, just ensure that because you've been maintaining this close range. And
that's good.
We're also proud of her.
To her.
She did so well. Young girl in this day and age,
Let me come to you, Mariam. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and I'm excited about something. So there's this grant that's going out. So it's a Prince Talal International Prize for Human Development 2023, and they'll be giving grants and awards and certificates to people who, have either government organizations, other agencies, and also individuals who have worked in the SDG 15, that's life on land, especially in things like environmental conservation like I do. And I'm looking forward to be able to, get grants from them. And so you have to nominate me. I'm going to put up more information on my social media. Hope you nominate me. I have.
Yeah, you sent me something.
Yeah. Yes, so there's a link. Good. So there's a link. Yes, it's just to help encourage people who are in that space, working in the environmental conservation space.
No, please encourage Mariam Longe.
So encourage
nominate her.
Prince Talal International Prize for Human Development 2023. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, we're going to start with The Nation. How we will implement Tinubu's agenda by ministers. 5 electrocuted, 4 hospitalized while erecting billboard. Vice President Shettima in Johannesburg for BRICS Summit. Nigeria's net foreign reserves at $3.7 billion, says JP Morgan. What Fagbemi should do as AGF by legal giants. FIRS step up plans to prevent tax evasion by firms. And Osun staff audit stalled by National Assembly, by Assembly's action, actually. Okay, let me start with the Vice President, Kasim Shettima. Yesterday departed Abuja for Johannesburg. He will be representing the President, Bola Tinubu, at the 5th BRICS Summit of Heads of State and Government. Yesterday, his spokesperson, the Director of Information in the Forum's office, Mr. Olushola Abiola, said that Shettima will join other world leaders and business and political leaders across the world at the summit, which will hold at Santon Convention Center in Johannesburg, 22nd to 24th. Other presidents of, I think, China would be there, Brazilian president, the Prime Minister of India, and the President of South Africa, amongst many other leaders, would also be there. So BRICS, if you recall, is the coalition or the acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they're seeing how to explore, to ensure that they bring these 5 developing economies together, and we'll see how Nigeria plays a part in this. I'm not sure where Nigeria plays a part, but I'm sure our involvement somehow would help in benefiting this. I'm happy that he's going there, but we'll see how that goes.
BRICS is doing well. BRICS is evading, their core plan is to stop using dollar. And if we are able to get into that economy, it will do well, because they have China. We do a lot of business with China, with Brazil, with India. If we can stop using dollar and they have a uniform currency for exchange.
I read here, one of its founding values is shared commitment to restructure the global political, economic, financial, and architecture to be fair. Okay, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so FIRS, in its plan to prevent tax evasion by firms, is asking all shipping companies that are operating within Nigeria's territorial waters they've given a deadline to settle all outstanding tax returns. They said that they've issued out this statement twice before, actually. And in those directives, they outlined the basis of taxation for international shipping lines and urged them to sort out their tax responsibilities within 3 months. And this particular time, also the deadline is saying that if they do not, do this within the timeline, the agency will work with relevant security operatives, agencies to prosecute defaulters. As we know, the FIRS is really trying to expand, its operations, making sure that companies or firms who work within Nigeria pay their taxes, and any companies found evading taxes also will be prosecuted.
Okay, another story.
I want to take the 5 that were electrocuted in Rivers State. They had been commissioned by a church to mount the billboards, and as they were mounting the metal billboard, so you are distracting me.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
So as they were, you're making me laugh, and it's a sad story.
Yeah.
As they were mounting the billboards, the metal connected with the high tension cable, and 5 of them were electrocuted, and 4 of them were hospitalized. Apparently, the passers-by who were in the area took them and rushed them to the hospital, but 5 were pronounced dead on arrival.
Oh my God!
4 are still receiving treatment in hospital.
Oh, I thought that
they
they
were
were
private businessmen who were trying to construct this billboard for the church. Really, really sad story.
That's sad. When I saw it, I thought they all ended up in hospital. I didn't know that 5 people died. That's so sad.
Any story?
Please, Osun story, the Osun staff audit was stalled by the State Assembly, and I'm trying to understand it. The governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke, wanted to do an audit of all the staff. He wanted everybody to let's know who our people are, who are actually working. And the workers are complaining that they were being harassed, that the consultants were humiliating them and handling the exercise in the past few weeks. And so there was an altercation because people did not want to give all the information necessary. And a similar thing also happened in the Osun State University. Last week, Friday, there was protest over the harassment by consultants that they say they are demanding apology. And because of that, the State Assembly has decided to has done a directive to suspend the verification process. And they've created a ad hoc committee to look into the issues surrounding the petitions that have come up with recommendations. But the point is, it is for your good to fish out.
That's civil service for you. If they don't want something, they'll find everything in the system to delay it, disrupt it, or just not have it happen at all. So I'm not saying that's a situation, but I've experienced it before, where technical partners will come and try to make change, and if they put every machinery in place to stall it. They protest and say everything, because, come on, it's just to get an audit. Anyway, let's move on quickly to the Punch. Abuja Land FG may revoke land allocations, demolish 6,000 buildings and slums. Picture here of the newly appointed ministers. Tinubu warns ministers against ethnic politics. Appoint, unveil the agenda. I want to reunite with Boko Haram husband, says Chibok girl. Ondo teenager confesses taking part in over 40 robberies. Navy arrests 10 oil thieves with over 100 jerry cans. FG may raise $17 billion from oil asset sale, says JP Morgan. Government to revive Ajaokuta Steel Umahi plant road inspection. And board chairman, MDs, buy additional 145 billion naira bank shares. All right, so the president was speaking yesterday to the newly inaugurated ministers of the Federal Republic to prioritize the interest and welfare of the entire nation and its diverse population above any regional or ethnic politics. He specifically said that you are not a minister of a particular state, colony, region, or ethnic nationality. You are a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is, just lost my train of thought. Okay, so he was also setting the tune for the directive for newly ministers. He was saying that it's all about the work, the cohesion and work of a great team. He expects them to adhere to the work they have been asked to do. And to serve as a minister is an honor with tremendous responsibilities. And this is a moment of abundant promise to Nigerians, which they must fulfill. And he reminded them that they cannot disappoint Nigerians who expect them to serve with integrity, dignity, and competence to actualize the renewed hope agenda he has promised them.
Well, I hope, I mean, if you cannot
the words are great.
You cannot be a minister from my community and I will not feel the impact that you're a minister. So even though we say you're not minister to an ethnicity, the expectation is that if they've appointed a minister from this village, at least.
No, that's what your local, that's what your local minister does. Your representative. That one has constituency.
Minister, what would he do?
That one has constituency project. Minister is Minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes,
we are changing perception.
The road will not be good in your village.
So we are changing perception.
You can't do that now. You follow me.
We are changing perception.
It's not what's topic.
Nigeria.
Yes. So let's go on a break. You're right, Waike. It's not about your village. So we're changing perception.
Right.
When he comes to visit you, dash you money, that's what you want.
We'll be right back. Let's go on a break.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Anybody has a story here?
Yes, I wanted to take the Chibok girl, Mary Nkeki. She's 27 now. She was one of the Chibok girls that was abducted at that time. She was rescued by the Operation Hadin Kai Theater Command. And she was rescued last week, Monday, by from her repentant Boko Haram husband. They were the troops of the 81 Task Force Battalion. And so the newspapers were interviewing her and asking her, oh, is she going to get married again? Is she going to get married? And she said, no, she's already married and she wants to be reunited with her husband. Her husband is repentant.
Yeah, Boko Haram.
They actually escaped from the insurgency together, from the terrorist enclave. And
it's been 9 years she's been gone.
Can you imagine? So her whole psyche has changed.
Yes.
You know, she probably doesn't.
That's all she sees as,
yeah. You know,
that's
she
so
had
sad.
2 children and they died.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine. That's fine on that story.
I have the men of the Nigerian Navy arrested 10 suspected pipeline vandals. They were attempting to steal crude from the sea in Lagos. They said the suspects were arrested at about 2 a.m. on Sunday at the Single Point Mooring Buoy. That's an NNPC facility where tankers unload their products. And then from there, it's eventually transferred into tank farms for distribution. Unfortunately for these criminals, the technology electronically detected them when they got on board the vessel. And that was how they were apprehended. And, you know, they've been lined up for all the world to see. They had jerry cans, about over 100 jerry cans, and they had put hoses, you know, to show that they were about to just put it in and then just start suctioning crude oil. They gave them on to the NSCDC, who said that they will investigate who their sponsors are. But then here they are, thieves.
You know, these are the small fry. My one is that these are the small fries.
Yeah,
they are gas.
from the small fry.
From the small fry that will get the big one.
People that take the
pipeline itself.
Yeah, but, but those small
very
fries can endanger the lives of people. When those things explode, people die. So they are just as culpable as the
I'm not
big
saying
fries.
they're not culpable, but there is no point in just dealing with them. Deal with the real organs. That's how you can stop it. If you keep dealing with the small fry, you will never progress now.
Very, very
And that story in
sad story.
Punch?
Yeah, the Ondo State Security Networks Agency, codenamed Amotekun Corps, caught a few robbers. These are teenagers that have nicknames of renowned armed robbers. So one of them is Sunday Ojo, 16-year-old, notoriously called Oyenusi, another 13-year-old Timileyin called Anini, another 16-year-old that is nicknamed Matilo. You know, like different, they have like this nicknames of notorious
models.
And they are young 16, 13, 16, 14-year-olds that were confessing that they've lost the count of robberies they've done. They've done at least 40 robberies. They said it is an evil spirit that has taken over that motivates them to steal. One of them said an evil spirit motivates him to steal, said that he's been arrested before, taken to a juvenile home, broke out, and went back into breaking shops. He was arrested 3 years ago. Obviously, then he will be like 14, and now he's older. He goes in, breaks into shops, steals things from the shops, and now he's rearrested. Then he was breaking into shops. Now he's rearrested. He had possession of firearms, and they are still going to take him to juvenile home, and they are talking about how they've had 31 suspects that all of them were being paraded. Yeah. It's so sad. I don't know how we can work on our juvenile homes to be more of the correctional facilities we're hoping it will be.
A question.
Yeah.
Do any of you know Oyenusi? Did any of you hear of Oyenusi?
I heard of Anini.
Anini,
but
I watched a documentary.
But Oyenusi, you are all too young to know Oyenusi. So I'm wondering how this 16-year-old, how he knows Oyenusi.
They've been telling each other stories.
I was like 16 when Oyenusi was killed at the Bar Beach.
Wow.
You know? So I'm wondering how
he knows.
I'm
sure people told him the story of
Oyenusi.
I don't know.
Yes, he's revered in some communities.
In some communities that they still know him.
Right. Let's move on quickly now to Daily Sun. Wike reveals how PDP governors recommended 10 ministers. Nigeria broke, declares JP Morgan.
No.
Obi denies reports with coalition with Kwakonso and Atiku. Robbers kill POS operators in Imo. Gunmen kill livestock guard commander in Benue. Youths won't be patient when resources are being looted. CSO warns federal government. And Tuga to unveil new foreign policy vision.
I have this very sad story.
Okay.
It really broke my heart. So they say a retired assistant superintendent of police and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Samson Owobo, on Sunday, they were shot dead by armed robbers. This man is a retired police officer. He and his wife have a POS business, and they do this, you know, to take care of themselves. These robbers came, and they came in a vehicle, eyewitnesses say, and they were struggling to take the bag of money from them, you know, and this couple held on to it. They shot the man in the head, shot the woman, and he died instantly, shot the woman on her side, and she was eventually pronounced dead in the hospital. These are, you know, Nigerians doing taking care of themselves, you know, have a livelihood, and then armed robbers come and just end their lives. It's just so sad. And he's a retired police officer, meaning he's even giving of himself to our country, and these armed robbers come and end his life. I just hope that they are found. This is in Imo State. It's so sad.
Let me take the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has denied talking with or having a plan to speak with the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and the NNPP presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso. According to him during the rally in Edo State ahead of the local government elections, Obi denied reports in the National Daily which said that several meetings had been held between him, Atiku and Kwankwaso for a coalition in the event that the tribunal orders a rerun of the elections. The reports had also stated that 3 candidates had begun to discuss the possibility of a merger with the ultimate goal of setting up a formidable party against the APC. And he said that was all false. Those are things that are all just a bunch of rumors.
Yes,
Okay.
I wanted to say gunmen kill another livestock guard in Benue. They said gunmen suspected to be bandits have killed a commander of the Benue State Livestock Guard, Mr. Jarule Likita, in the Ukum local government. Did I pronounce it well, Miriam? Ukum local government of the state. They said actually 5 of them, this is like the 5th person now that has been killed by gunmen, and there is nothing that they do. They just come, open fire, kill them, and they move. That's Zaki, I'm looking for his Zaki Linus, the commander of the, said that most of his men have died in the hands of these bandits. Wow. And he lamented that the government just kill his men in cold blood.
All right.
So JP Morgan is talking about how broke Nigeria is. Officially on the CBN website, the figure that we have in our foreign reserve is 33.8 billion. But according to JP Morgan, based on what they calculated, what we actually have is 3.7 billion, which is far lower than 33.8 billion.
Dollars or naira?
Dollars.
We remove 1 3.
Well, maybe there was a mistake in removing 1 3. And he mentioned the fact that they wrote a report on Nigeria that Nigeria, our reform paused rather than fatigue. And they were talking about how we've been trying, and that as at the end of 2021, there was a $14 billion reserve. But by the end of 2022, we had 3.7 billion in our reserve, and they were explaining the currency swaps, all the deals being taking place, its impact on our economy. Long and short is Nigeria doesn't have the money it is spending or behaving like it has. And we need to get that part into the head of.
I think we already know that.
We know
Trying to get our revenue. We are trying to get revenue from different places. So nobody's going to tell us what we don't already know. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Vanguard very quickly.
Don't agree. Don't
no, I'm not.
Don't shoot the messenger.
We are stating the obvious. We already know. Remember.
No, they don't know. They told us we had $33 billion in our reserve when we had 3
Wait from the Minister of Finance, who has recently resumed, to tell us exactly how much we have in our reserve.
Isn't that Wale Edu?
Yes, when he comes in, we'll now know what exactly we have. Not JP Morgan telling us what we have. Moving on to Vanguard. Tinubu to ministers serve Nigeria, not regions or states. Niger were more likely to use forces ECOWAS. Agbakogba tasks new AGF on criminal justice system. Babies die as women deliver in toilets, says Benue IDP camp manager. Gunmen abduct 8 NYSC members on way to camp in Sokoto. And how PDP governor sent 10 ministerial nominees to Tinubu, says Wike. Okay, which story are we taking in Vanguard, our final paper? Any stories? Nobody took any of the human interest babies?
I took the Makurdi inmates, internally displaced people in the Guel West local government, complaining of the outbreak of measles. All the kids are just coming out with measles, and they don't have any support system. They don't have any health care. So the women, when they are about to give birth, they go to the toilets. It's the only place for them where they can just stay and give birth.
In Makurdi?
In Makurdi, and a lot of the babies die. Yeah, you know. And so when the one that even alarmed me was, they said they don't have money to go to the hospital, and the place is congested. So they contacted the executive secretary of Benue, and his answer was, I allotted 200 bags of rice to them. And I'm thinking, what?
The Minister of Humanitarian Services definitely has a lot of work.
He has a lot of work, and she's young.
She has
She has a lot of
young,
work on her
and
hands.
we expect that there should be a major
So
reform.
these are some of the things we'd like her to address when she comes in, of course.
There's a really sad story that we haven't been able to get to. The soldiers that allegation by Senator Solomon Adiola that soldiers killed his aide. His aide died on the 5th of August. A really, really sad story. Very late in the evening, he was going back home around Ojodubega, and he was stopped by military officers in Lagos. Military officers in Lagos, that he should bring documents for his cars. He called his wife to tell his wife to send pictures, and that was the last his wife heard of him, and the last they saw him. They found his body ridden with bullets at Toyota bus stop area of Oshodi, close to the military barracks. And he's calling for the lawmakers of the firm believe that the Nigerian army needs to account for the body of that aide.
Tokpe, he's the second person. That's what the senator said. He said that guy is the second person, but the first person that it happened to was following another car. He was following another car. When that car didn't see him, called him, said that the police army are taking him to another place, and then they found his dead body there too. And their cars are missing, their phones are missing. You know?
I think somebody can trace the gun from the bullets or something. No, even it's the army. Is that something we got to do? In Lagos, we have that in Lagos actually. Somebody know exactly.
Please tell me what the soldiers are doing on the road. This is
Lagos territory now.
Okay, we have to run. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, we move on to the hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We will be discussing some of the major highlights from the swearing-in ceremony of the ministers designate. It definitely was a colorful ceremony yesterday. We'd like to hear your own thoughts on all the various highlights. I tried to crack a joke earlier with the Lily saying that if they don't adhere to the master plan of Your View on TVC, they will go down. They didn't get the joke. For those of us who watched,
no, I got the joke.
Only you got the joke. But for those of us who watched, the Honorable Minister of the FCT or FCT yesterday would have gotten the joke because he has told them that if you have any illegal structures, you will go down.
Yeah.
If you know any minister, know anybody you think you have high up there, I don't care, you will go down.
Hurricane Wike
has come to
Abuja.
Okay, maybe that's what I should said that.
Yes, Hurricane Wike.
But they made a clap back, say that, listen, there are more things they need in FCT. It's not about pulling down structures.
Yeah.
We need recreational centers. We need
spaces for
there are needs for FCT. So it's beyond pulling down structures. So we hope that he realizes that. But what are your own highlights of yesterday? And we'd also like to hear from our viewers. Call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-076-41-679, 090-241-63440. Send us your messages on Twitter or on YouTube. Would love to read your messages. So, which one of them jumped at you?
It's Hurricane Wike now.
Yeah, still Wike matter.
No, not just the speech, but the drama that Wike carries. You know, the paper carried that when he was called, he was like the most popular appointee. Everybody was clapping. This is the only PDP person that is serving in this administration, obviously, but he seemed to come across as a very popular person, and there was a lot of applause, the drama between himself and the president. But I think that I'm excited about the Betta Idu appointment, sad about Okotete and the drama with that, and I'm looking forward to what Betta will be able to do because she has a huge responsibility. The humanitarian part of the Ministry of Humanitarian is saddled with the responsibility of IDPs. And the stories we keep hearing about IDP is not good. So what I would expect is she goes on a tour of all the IDP camps, and it is not an official tour. It is an incommunicado tour, like unofficially she's showing up Of course, being protected, we want her life, we value her too much, we don't want any risk coming to her, but we want her to show up and be able to see what is going on in the IDP camps, and we want a yam pepper scatter. Let it yam pepper ishuata yon yam pepper scatter.
Let it just scatter it. Anyways.
But we want like an expose of all the people that are culpable, let there be consequences.
Wait,
everybody will sit.
That's what Nigerians want. All just come in and do fire brigade, but it's not about that. It's not until you arrest, because some people actually want to fix the problem. They want to solve problem, because when we see them arresting and scattering, for us they're working, but that's not the work.
No.
The work is not about scattering. No, I get your point.
I know.
But the consequences should not be focused on, because if this government wants to focus on the issues we have, you waste your time. But if you want to fix the problem, you find a solution.
But you can't fix the problem without facing the consequences.
Yeah, but
without facing the causes.
Yes.
And that is why you have to go for those people. Because let me tell you, if you start to arrest people like that,
shouldn't I use my resources, YK, to fix the problem that I used to arrest? I'd rather use my limited resources to solve the problem.
How are you going to fix the problem without arresting the people?
Can be done simultaneously. But I also get what you're saying, because a lot of there was some backlash. Would I say backlash or opinion, contrary opinion to what people described as Hurricane Wiki? They thought that that's not the best attitude to go into this job with, where you're already going threatening people, you know. So I think sometimes let's come in with let's be a little circumspect in our speech, so that we first gain trust is what we're saying. Gain trust first, and then but the truth is you must do both at the same time. You cannot start one, because if you say you focus all your resources on fixing the problem, it will still end up with those who are destroying the work. But then if you say you're just going to chase criminals down, then you will not have time to do the work. So it has to be done at the same time.
Yes, arrest them. We'll be the same to criticize you when you
say, what have you done?
You see, for me, I think that I'm hoping that Wike is not all noise, you know, because for me, I like the people that are quiet, action.
I love that too.
Yeah, but sometimes.
But when you come and you say, I don't care who you are, minister, so somebody was asking on the radio this morning, so if it's the president that has really go and knock down the president's house, he should be careful of what he's saying.
So.
If it is his own house, really go and knock it down. So please, we want action. We don't want mouth. Okay. That's all I would say about.
Let's talk about the other parts of what happened.
Wike has never been my fan. I've never been his fan. Mariah loves him too.
No, we love his drama.
That's not true.
You love his drama too.
No, he gives us
on the show, YK, let me maybe just because I forgot. The show is about highlighting things. We dramatize. Do I know that? Have I ever met Dangote? I don't know him, but I call him my uncle because it's not my person like that.
I know you don't know him.
We just use those things to
what I'm saying is
drama, not because
you love his drama.
Personal relationship.
I've never loved his drama. You love Wike's drama.
He gives us content because the show is about
you have acted some of his
don't mind
his scripts.
I've acted, it doesn't mean I like it.
That's it. It's show business. Really, it's about business of show.
He's doing show.
So it's the drama that was.
That's my problem. Is he doing?
I like his glasses though.
All right, let's move on to the other parts of yesterday. So there are a lot the ballaying and kneeling down. There were a few of those that happened yesterday.
I loved her too. What's her name?
Musawa.
I loved her. Very
Tell us more.
She spoke well.
She has serious pedigree, and she's somebody that's obviously well educated.
And I think she's going to. I hope she does well. I hope she's going to do a good job. But she seemed very. I love.
But I hear she was emotional.
So in the papers, I found it a bit funny because we had a conversation some weeks back, and Topper was, she was like, when you Google Hannatu Musawa now, all you see is she cried, and she would like for her to come on our show sometime so that we can see her for who she really is beyond the emotions. And then the papers go ahead and say, Hannatu Musawa cried again. I'm like, I know she did other things. She spoke well. She represented herself well. But you choose to highlight the crying again.
You see, hot tears of joy. Hot tears of joy rolled down her eyes as her citation was being read. So,
and they also reminded us that she cried again. Remember?
Yes,
finishing.
They now said that as the presidential spokesman was the anchor for the event, he said, Hannatu, daughter of Second Republic politician, also cried in front of the senators during her screening as she recounted how she treated the cola nuts. So, yes, Hannatu Musa is an emotional person, but she's more than that. And we should stop reporting in this way. And that's why we are asking Hannatu Musa, Ma,
Musawa,
please, we would like to interview you on your view. We would profile you beyond the hot tears.
Marketer, let's move on now to Lola Adejon. She knelt before the president, and obviously that people were going on and on. And I was just like, we pick and choose. We pick and choose when we want to add culture or not culture.
Yeah.
So suddenly we're like, oh, why is she kneeling down? It's just somebody called it eye service. Somebody's calling all sort of things. I'm thinking, she's kneeling down before somebody who is older. It's respect. It's cultural.
So am I supposed to
So that makes...
I will see him, and I will not kneel down to, like, what am I? It's just not normal. Even if he's the president and I'm coming in as a minister, the point is it's still the age that we must respect.
And I think that also plays into this conversation what we're having, like, what is our culture? What is us? What is the...
Not defined it.
Yes, we need to define it, because there was one time, the last administration, where we had the president handing out, remember, the awards, and we had the entertainer, I've forgotten her name right now, and many people, you know, there was a lot of conversation about how she received that award. It didn't look like she respected the president. You know, there were some people who cut it a bit.
Musician, Tierney.
Yeah, Tenny, yes. She didn't cut, you know, they referred, they highlighted those that at least bowed their heads or curtsies. She seemed to just walk past him. And we criticized that. And now we have someone who is kneeling down, and then we'll criticize. So we need to choose what we would like to, how we would like to address our elders in Nigeria. If that person had come before the King of England and had curtsied, we would have thought, oh, that's such a well-brought-up, polite person, you know.
I thought she was well put together. That's Lola Adejon. I loved her corporate look. She looked like she's going there to do work. You know, she wasn't there for fanfare with Gele or... Even with some with Gele, I liked. Listen, some with Gele, I liked. I actually liked her attitude. But I just thought she looked right. She was ready for action.
Because she's wearing a woman's suit.
She was going, no, she was wearing a dress. It was probably made in Nigeria.
We're having a shoot.
Yes. It had Ankara.
I'm trying to pick on YK because YK is out picking because somebody's wearing suit.
No, she looks as if she's there to do, she's there serious. Okay. Ready to do her job. She prostrated.
But based on her lifestyle.
She bowed.
Not based on her lifestyle, based on her CV and what she's always done. This is how she dresses
all of them
most of the time.
CV. Let's talk about the gentleman that bowed down, the Minister of Steel Development, Shoibu.
That one like he slept.
Fully frustrated.
Oh my God, why can't know why?
We need to choose. How do we greet our elders or our superiors in public? How would we like to do it?
They're different cultures, right?
Yeah, but what can we, let's have like a formal...
So I don't think so. I think we can't have it universal because that's the beauty of our country. However, I think he was respecting the culture of the president because if it was somebody else, he probably wouldn't do that. But you know the Yoruba man did that, they won't prostrate. Let me prostrate for him because in his own view.
In a Yoruba place where because I had issues with my mother-in-law because she was expecting that as a Yoruba girl I was going to be kneeling down every time. But I wasn't brought up. I was a Yoruba person, but was not brought up. I'm a Yoruba person not brought up within that space of every time you're kneeling down. So sometimes the expectation could also be that
you would have seen the president and not kneel down.
Now, with the experience,
okay, gotcha.
My parents had been me, but I did not obey. Now, as an adult, when I saw the issue in my marriage and the fact that something as simple as just kneeling down would have solved the problem, I started kneeling down more. So now, I will not see that kind of person and not kneel down to greet the person.
Okay, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, there's so many other parts of this inauguration because...
you don't kneel down and greet me.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Ganga. I like that.
Hey.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the inauguration of our ministers yesterday. I'm told I have Mr. Adeni from Makoka on the phone. Thanks for calling, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I just want to make some comments. Number one, with regards to what Wike said, Honorable Wike, what is said. See, every country has their own culture. Every people, every group of people have their own characteristics. I think in Nigeria, the best approach was the approach that Honorable Wike actually displayed. Because in Nigeria, I noticed that when you're trying to arrange things, we want to make things formal, at the end of the day, you get the whole things modeled up. At the end of the day, you are not able to achieve the purpose at which we are already set up. So for me, what Wike said is in order. Do you understand? That's the best approach for me in Nigeria. The same, that was the approach of the president. Actually, that was what he applied when he was sworn in. At the swearing in, he declared that oil subsidy is gone. Let me tell you, if he had waited probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, forget it. Eventually, it may just become so difficult.
Thank you, Mr. Denis. They're very different styles. You might be right. Some people have different styles, but that's one technique the president used when he said subsidy is gone. And of course, he had to pay for the repercussions because a lot of Nigerians resisted it at the time. But however, he stood his ground. So maybe that's the style Wike is using and insisting that all the buildings that don't follow the master plan will go down. But we'll see how it goes. Other highlights from yesterday. Let's see what else we have here. The Minister of Minister of Steels.
Yes, he said
Mr. Dele Alaki.
It was the...
He said that it was actually planned. The fact, let me even read his comments specifically. He said that I know lots of people thought, okay, I think I missed it. Ooh. Where he was saying that a lot of people thought that he would get Minister of Information. However, the president had decided to put him...
I have that.
Okay,
he said my portfolio has been the upset of the entire cabinet because given my antecedents, exposure and experience in the area of perception, information management and the likes, so most people had pigeonholed me for information. And so we decided to shock everybody.
We decided?
Yes, like I feel like he said the president decided to shock everybody by not assigning him to Ministry of Information and putting him to use within the Ministry of solid minerals. That's a ministry that I am looking forward. You know, we have lithium. Nigeria has minerals that are very, very...
And he said something. He said, I mean, crude is generally drying up eventually. That the steel, our natural resource, that is new oil, that's where the money is going to be. So obviously, as we said before, we predicted that. But the reason why the president put somebody he trusts, because he knows that that's the new frontier. That's what we need to explore to ensure that the money comes to this country. So that's somebody he trusts, and I hope that they're able to fix some.
I really hope that they can do something, because if they do it and they do it well.
Can we talk about the Minister for State for Education, Yusuf Sununu? He has promised to work like a bricklayer in the office. He said, just like a bricklayer, that he's facing the challenge of laying hundreds of blocks every day to ensure the progress. He will do the same with the ministry. So we're expecting him to be a very, very hard worker. And I'm happy that he's working within the Ministry of Education because it's a ministry that we need a lot of work done. I don't know what the Ministry of State will be doing, though.
Let me use let me take Cecilia, then I come to you, Mariam. Cecilia, thanks for calling.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, you're live.
On your program.
Thank you
very much. Yes, great program, one.
Thank you.
And then secondly, I want to say that Wike is a political leader. Wike is the greatest among them. I watched the program yesterday, and just like you said, Wike was the only minister that had a standing ovation. I mean, simply awesome. And I can tell you, Wike is a man that talks. What's the talk? Wike is one man that will say, I will do this, he will walk towards it, he will do it. Okay. Wike is the type of leader we need in this country. Okay. Nigerians are not disciplined people, with due respect, okay? Including myself. Everybody is guilty of this. And Wike is the only one that I think that will bring sanity to SDT.
All right. Thank you very much, Cecilia. She's lives in Abuja, so obviously she probably has some insight. A few more comments from the ministers. I have from the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, the former governor of Osun State, Mr. Oyetola. He said that our oceans cover more than 2/3 of our planet's surface, holding the key to sustainable economic growth, environmental preservation, and technological innovation. As we look ahead, my vision is rooted in the responsible management and utilization of our marine resources to benefit not only our economy, but also the health of our planet. So
when I heard that, I was keyed in, and I will be watching, you know, because
Closely.
we're watching closely because yes, what we're constantly preaching is sustainable development, and I feel that Nigeria hasn't done a very good job of that. So I'll be looking closely to see how
I think
he manages to do this.
that's my own. I'm just going to watch them.
Yeah.
I don't want to hail anybody. I mean, of course, you will have your preferences. Like I like the Hannah-2 girl.
Yeah.
I thought she was really nice. I thought she was elegant. I thought she was well-spoken. I thought she's done so much in her short life. I also liked Lola Adejon. You know, I also like the one that saluted the president.
That's, oh, I got her
Like
name.
if did a full watching of this.
Let me get her name.
That's
is
Iman, I
Iman
think.
Suleiman
Iman
Ibrahim,
Suleiman.
Minister of Police Affairs. She has no background in police, but she just had to respect that new office, which was really great for her to do.
You know, so
The minister, yeah, go ahead, Waki.
what I hope is that the vigor in which they greeted and they knelt down, and that is the same vigor that they will put in the ministries that they head, and something will happen.
So Nigerians.
Because what we need, and I hope the ones that don't deliver, that the president sacks immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Please, we don't want the repeat of last time when people were there for a long time, even when there were stories, it seemed like, but this president would not be like that. Our president has been very, very responsive. Even when people gave feedback, we saw an immediate response. There wasn't Minister for Niger Delta. There was a response. There was a
Yeah, removed the Agbalagba. That Agbalagba now.
the youth.
Minister of Youth. He removed
No,
the
no, 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 no.
But he has not,
Police administration
he has not put
somebody else, but
removed the
there's a
Agbalagba.
template of, I
Hopefully,
listen.
the replacement will be a young person, and we are suspecting.
That's one thing I noticed. Most of these ministers were young.
Yeah, YK,
Relatively
you're late to the
young.
party, YK. She's 30, Dr. Betta Edu is 36. And she said she's going to
And
be...
all the other, the
she
average
said-
seems to be like a 40-something.
Yeah, Hannah-2 is 43, my age. Like,
But we had fewer women than we expected.
yes, we'd have a lot more, just that 8 out of 45,
Yes.
that's a
We
small
had
figure.
fewer women than we expected, and we're hoping any other addition to the list would be
Be
female.
female.
But I want to talk about environment. Now, I know that's Mariam's key department, but there's a part for me. It is our speed of desertification. Like, we're not, it's one of the renewable area. Like, of all our resources, we can replant trees, and it's like the easiest thing to do. That if we set an agenda, this minister can just say, I'm going to plant 1 million trees in the next 4 years, I'm here. And we can hold her accountable. Like there's some cheap
One is
means.
marine and
Yes.
bioeconomy.
So I think
there's a different
yes,
minister
yeah,
for
that's
that.
different.
That's
There's
a different minister for that.
for-
Oyesola is Minister of Marine and Blue Economy.
No. I said environment.
Environment. Oh,
I
sorry.
said the Ministry of Environment that I want a like sell us a vision that we can all tie into, and something that would make a huge difference in Nigeria. The heat in Nigeria, like global warming, is a big deal, and if we just say we want to plant, we can. It doesn't cost us a big deal to do so if you get people to cooperate with you to say we're planting.
So
1
we're
million
looking for
trees.
policies that will push that, and we're looking for better implementation of
the
those
already
policies.
existing
Let's not just be speaking, because everybody can, take a book and read what you are supposed to say when it comes to the environment
I don't
or
want to
climate change. But then, how do we actually run development in Nigeria? I mean, Lagos alone, we're talking about the wetlands and how we're trying to develop. We are building all sorts of buildings,
Yes.
or we do not care about the natural resources
We have
that are
cleared
there.
out the
So-
wetland and sold it finished.
Okay, so there was one I was interested in, actually, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources. That's oil. So the president divided it. Minister for Petroleum, State Petroleum Resources, oil, and State Petroleum Resources, gas. So the two different ministers, I guess he said he had to separate them.
Saying gas is
Heineken
a
Lokpobere
big
has vowed to go to the creeks to attain the desired result in the sector. He said he pledged to work hard to increase the production. Heineken Lokpobere, he said that he's not going to be in Abuja. He's going to be stay more in the creeks. The minister, who described himself as a creek boy, stressed he would not spend much time sitting in the office, but he'll be in the creek. So
I definitely will
Some of
remember.
the issues when it comes.
I hope he's not just... It's not
He's a man of integrity, yeah.
If he's going to do it, yes, because if you are not on the job, if you are not there, it's the same thing. That's why there are 34 checkpoints on the road, because there is nobody, nobody is checking. You have to go there, because if you don't go, and if they know that you are going to come and surprise them, bam, like this, everybody will step
So,
up.
YK, if you repeated this checkpoint thing, is it possible that if these checkpoints are actually effective and not collecting money, where they're actually stopping criminals, you'll be okay with it? Because is your issue the number or the inefficiency on collecting money from citizens?
Or the corruption. 34 checkpoints.
I'm just saying that if I feel I need 34 or 100 checkpoints to ensure that people don't continue to smuggle into this country, if I need 100 checkpoints, maybe I'll put it there. I'm just asking a question. Is it that their corruption you have an issue with, or the number?
I have an issue with the number.
Okay.
I have an issue with the corruption.
Okay.
The corruption first. And what I'm saying is, if you are a minister, I don't know if it's
There's a Minister of
transportation
Interior now.
or Interior, whatever minister you are, if you don't go there to see what is happening.
Or respond quickly to feedback.
Because...
Let me quickly take this call from Razak. He's been holding for a minute. Good morning, Razak. Thanks for calling. I'm so sorry for keeping you.
If you have Lola Adejon, who is doing tourism, and she's trying to invite tourists into Nigeria, and you have the checkpoints, stopping tourists from calling me. When I get to Nigeria, I spend 3 hours for a journey that would have been 1 hour. I'm not going to come again. And I'm not a smuggler. You can check me to see if I'm a smuggler now.
Obviously.
It's easy. You open the boot, the smuggler cars, they pass there every day with their extra...
So it's the corruption that we're upset about.
Yes.
I wanted to be clear that we're very
maybe if there was no corruption or less corruption, you wouldn't need as many checkpoints. But I was going to say about the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil. He says he's a creek boy, and most of the stories we hear from that area is all the bunkering that's going on, the vandalism that's going on, and they seem to be such a very violent group of people as well. So in enforcing the laws, we're thinking he may need a lot of community collaboration to be able to do his job. And since he's a creek boy, he comes from that area, maybe they're able to relate with him because he's one of them. And I hope that he's able to do a good job. Remember, I think it was especially last year when we were reading about Tony Luminlu and many other investors in the oil business that are crying that a lot of the resources that they lose goes to distilling, the bunkering, the vandalism. So this is something that I hope he's able to handle well as a clean boy.
He has promised us.
Okay, we have a caller. Ayinde, thanks for calling.
Good morning, ma'am.
You're live.
First caller.
Sorry?
I'm the first caller.
First time caller. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you people.
Thank you, sir.
Please, our problem in this country is all about corruption. The policing, all the law enforcement agents, they are not doing the job. They are outside to extort money, not doing the job. The checking points are not there to check whoever that is going or what do you have in your goods or what do you carry. Just give them money. So that is the problem. That is the problem. So if God help us to handle the issue of corruption in this country, everybody will be fine. Instead of them to check the what's it called, the criminals, they are.
So corruption goes hand in hand with the people and also the justice system, because if people feel that I can get away, because anybody wants to cheat, your natural instinct will see how you can get away with something. But the truth is that when you have a system that checks you, you are able to stop it. So corruption can be fixed if first we, the people, take responsibility, one, the government, two, also take their own responsibility and ensure the judiciary is fair. And that's why, and I think Agbakoba was trying to advise the new AGF, on what he needs to do as he becomes the Attorney General of the Federation. That's SAN, Mr. Fagbemi, SAN. So, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in the judiciary, and we have to ensure that...
The judiciary is not
I have a problem with what you said.
Yes, go ahead.
It's not our natural instinct to cheat. It's not my own natural
No, I didn't say natural instinct. It's always a natural instinct to just get ahead, to do something. So you take advantage of the system. You want to find something. So if you don't find, you find other ways to get it done to satisfy your own inner need. But the truth is that we must understand that it's not about me alone. We have to have a social system where we believe we have to focus on what the system allows us to do and cannot do. So the system must check us. It's not just about my own personal needs. That was the point I'm trying to make.
Besides, the judiciary is the last
law enforcement
resort for all the common men. Like, this is if we want to stop jungle justice, is judiciary. If we want to improve fairness and equity, is judiciary. If you want people to trust the system, is judiciary. Because even if a corrupt politician or somebody tries to cheat me, I know that if I go to court anything I take to court, at least the court will defend me.
Yeah.
If the court can back the common man, then we have a country.
People will readjust themselves.
Then we have a country. If the court can punish the highest to the lowest, then we have a country. It's
Let me
fairness
take
and equity.
Stephen from London. Thanks for calling. Stephen from London, you're live.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, sir.
A wonderful job you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping us updated about the affairs of our nation. Just to express my optimism about what we are seeing, President Tinubu seems to be somebody that is solution-driven. You want to believe that all of this crop of individuals, achievers, they will do an excellent job. And so I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, we are praying. Somehow we are not so much in a position to help one way or the other, but we can pray. And we can also give support to our people at home. And so I hope and I pray that this crop of people will prove their critics wrong. So I'm looking forward to some changes. You know, people get surprised and oh, this happened in Nigeria. Some people are making comments about our airport in Nigeria, how it was the one in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Stephen. We didn't get most of what you said, but I'm sure he was...
He was just saying that he hopes the president is purpose-driven, and so that results, I think he was just saying, you know, and which is my own, I'm not here to criticize anybody, I'm just here to, because right now, we need good governance, and we need to change Nigeria.
And we need more than words. The words are nice, they're colorful, they are right, but we need more than words.
So in that space, to support what you said about the Nigerians are feeling a huge pinch of the economic challenges. So we are more aware than ever, and a lot of people that will put pressure on the ministers. But before we talk about putting pressure on ministers, I'm going to beg all Nigerian contractors, portfolio contractors, connections, all of you that know any minister one-on-one or know someone that knows the minister, please sit down in your house. Don't send congratulatory messages that is laced with opportunities for contracts. Leave them and let them do their work, please.
They have also started putting adverts in the paper.
There's adverts paper yesterday, I know. So I'm begging. The paper was heavy, adverts, Punch, celebrating. Nation. Everybody wants their name to be shown. Let these people, contractors, sit down in your house. Let the government,
but the minister cannot go and tar the roads by himself.
Yes,
he needs to get
the
yes or no?
Contractor.
Yes or yes?
He should give it to the best hand.
Yes. So the best hand can be a family member.
Family members now will start telling them, you know, I do this one, I do that one.
What if your family member is a fantastic
we don't want nepotism. That's my opinion.
No, they are meant to even just follow due process.
Follow due process.
But they can be a family member, follow due process, and still get it. Now, because you're a family member, you shouldn't become contract. I'm just asking a question. Let us be, because if you're a minister, hang in there. If you're a minister today, and I am a family member, and I'm actually very good at my work, somebody just appointed his cousin to be, we don't know.
I will need to send you a reminder mail or text message.
I will send you a reminder. How you congratulations.
I know the areas where you are good. I know if I want to do PR for a 360 right now,
yes,
I will talk to Mariah. How can we package this thing? She will give me ideas. She knows how to push the.
But you forget because
I will not forget.
Let me tell you why you forget.
I know somebody.
Let me tell you why. Wait. Let me tell you why you forget, Nima. Because you're not addressing. It's not about me. You have so many people around you. You have a system. You're just a minister. A civil service that works. That there's a system in place already. And you know what? You get swamped. And if you're not reminded of where you're coming from as a technocrat, of the people who you work with, who you know you can trust, you will just be swamped into that. So sometimes let us not always
let me tell you something.
Yes.
You see, integrity has a lot to do with this.
Yes.
I mean, because I know Tokwe and Tokwe has become minister, I will now start calling Tokwe or...
Yes. Antieni will not supply Adire. What does Antieni know about Adire? But they will give her the contract to supply Adire because I'll say she's from Adire.
I know somebody who knows one of the ministers. In fact, the minister was that person's ex. Listen, the minister was that person's ex. So another person that knew that person is the ex sent a message saying, you own done better.
Your ex has become minister.
Your ex has become minister. Kiniko. So I asked the person,
what should she do?
I said, are you going to send text to the... Only no. I don't do that. That is integrity.
Yes.
Personal integrity.
That is integrity. I don't want, it's not because I know you that I should get something. And I think if we all started to act like that, because you that you're always saying, we the people, this is part of we the people.
So if, but the point is, Waike, I mean, around the world, we've seen Trump hire people around it. We've seen even, the point, I'm not saying, I'm not saying, Waike, hear me out, hear me.
All his family.
Waike, the point is, the truth is that we're already preempting that people will come around these ministers. That is natural. But let us not also think that, and I lost my train of thought. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this, ministers, what our expectations are. Let me come to you, Tope. And I know also the president also gave a very inspiring speech. He was saying that we shouldn't lead with ethnicity, from your colony, from your region. You should lead because you are now a minister of the Federal Republic. How does that communicate to you?
It sounded right. It sounded like what we need to hear. Yes, no minister should be leading based on their ethnicity. Even though they are more comfortable with people from their area, they must open themselves up. So it was a good announcement to us. And I hope they comply. I know it will be tough. You know what I'm saying? It will be tough. Honestly, it will be tough because people want, if you are from my area, and I know that you're a minister and you're from my area, I want to feel the impact of what you've done in my area. People always talk about Obasanjo not doing, Ota Road is not passable, and there was a president. Whatever that the former president will talk about, they always tell him that the road to your house is not passable. You cannot drive from Lagos to your house. That's it. If you are from a state, they must feel the impact of what you've done, but just ensure that you are fair in what you're doing.
Okay, let me take this call from Yinka. Yinka calling from Yaba. Thanks for calling, Yinka.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Orayo, and your crew.
Morning.
You guys are doing great work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, so, Orayo, I gave you the name at this tour 3 years ago, and since then I've been trying to call without getting through. So it was October 4th when you guys were dressed in native attire, and you were dressed in one Niger Delta dress like that. And then you said somebody should give you a Niger Delta name. So I gave you at this tour. Since then I've been trying to call, not getting through.
Oh, thank you.
My friend,
thank you, Yinka.
Like to every one of them.
Thank you, Yinka.
People remember.
Generally, for the country, I wish Bola Tinubu and his ministers, I wish them the best of luck. They actually need time to perform. Nobody should rush them. Though we are expectant, we want the best, but good luck to everyone. So
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mariam, let me come to you. The president's speech, especially at this time where there's a lot of division, there's still a lot of politics playing, because I know even Peter Obi was in Edo yesterday. They were trying to rally people around for the elections coming up. So there's still a lot of, talk here and there. What are your thoughts on his speech?
I think the president, this particular president, has done a good job of understanding what needs to be said and how it needs to be said. Maybe apart from that, subsidy removal is gone immediately. But, he understands that Nigerians are actually really looking for hope. We're looking for someone who can give us like a guideline, where to go and what to expect. The message that he preached with his speech is an important one, as you said, is we are just coming out of an election, and as with every election, there will definitely be, differences politically, ethnically, religious, and especially, with his own ticket, which was a Muslim ticket. So I love that the messaging we're getting from him, from his cabinet, like with Ajuri Gelale, we remember also his speech was really about we're all together, we're one, and we're working for Nigeria. And we need to put Nigeria back on the front burner. we have talked about, oh, I'm Yoruba, I'm Igbo. We have used those different ethnicities many times to argue points with each other. But now is Nigeria's time. Anyone in the Federal Executive Council, anyone representing us anywhere is representing us as Nigerians. And we just want to see Nigerians go forward. We hope that every minister or everybody that is representing us politically or otherwise by appointment, you understand that it's about the interest of Nigerians and not your interest. And it's not political interest now. I feel that the president has done the good job of giving everyone, you know, paying back for whatever political thing you have contributed. But now is the time to work for the Nigerian people.
Okay, let me take this call from Joseph. Thanks for calling from Abuja.
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. So, please, my contribution is this. Of course, all of them, they want to let us know at their introductory speech that they are able to do the job. Of course, they have to convince us that they are able to do that. But the momentum, someone like the Minister of Abuja, the informing Minister of Abuja, just on weekend, the momentum is coming by the counterproductive, because we know the prevailing economic reality in Nigeria. Talking about doing away with slums, destroying houses, this and that. Then you haven't even come in, you're already threatening everybody. It might be counterproductive. So you have to tone down on his policy programs. It's really not ideal to speak like this for now. Secondly, Mr. President has done well. I think he gave to people, he gave jobs to people whose field actually, I mean, the engineers he gave to the engineers, the economists he gave to the economists, where they belong to, which is round hole in a square, round.
Don't worry, we get the point.
We get it, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Let's take a few comments.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for your comments. You know, many young Nigerians were excited about Bosun Tijani.
Yeah.
But we didn't hear him speak, though. You know, he was really rather, he didn't hear
But
him.
you know that it was a bit conditioned.
Let
Last
me
time
just
we...
check. The when Bosun Tijani stood up, when they were reading
The
citation, there was one that was looking at him like this.
Are you serious? Why,
I don't know whether he was a minister, whether he was a senator.
Was there
Were you there? Why?
in his CV?
She was
CV
reading
is
there.
powerful.
It's not his CV. You know he has that, he called them morons.
Oh.
So he was looking, look at
Was
this
he a
upstarts.
Was he a senator?
I don't know who he was. It was just one.
Like it was
You're just reading. You're reading minutes.
I think this is how he was looking at him.
honestly.
Okay, well, let me take it.
So
You have to
So
work together.
I was showing him, I said, look, he's saying, look. He said, this, and because the camera was on him.
It wasn't
When
happy.
we were thinking about something else.
Let me take this.
Yes.
I think he was a senator.
Fiona is telling us something from Tubes.
Please
YouTube.
tell us so.
He said that one of my church members was given FCT commandant of the civil service. Everybody is looking for him in church for jobs and contracts.
Fiona.
This is what happens in Nigeria. Another person said, Olajide said, there's nothing wrong with marketing your product, so let the process be free of favoritism.
Simple.
That's the key. I know Tokwe's comment is around man, no man culture.
It is man that will know man now. I mean, why are we pretending?
Yeah,
Look,
follow
it's
the
good.
system.
Yeah, follow the system. Let's not act all self-righteous. The truth is that if you know somebody who has an opportunity, even if it's a bank, a private bank or a private company, you say, oh, my uncle, I have an uncle who's the director there. Please, sir, how do I do it? They'll tell you, apply to HR. Once you get shortlisted, let me know. No, there's a process. Even here, don't people call us that I want to become interns. Just because I don't know you, I've not seen you in my life. Because you're a fan on you send me a message on Instagram, automatically you expect me to refer you to be internship with TVC. It doesn't make any sense. But it's all part of that. It's the mentality that we have to know somebody. So the point is, we have to find a way to work around it.
Publications to congratulate your loved ones. You don't need
Exactly.
publications to congratulate your loved ones.
Use the money somewhere
Let
else.
me take this call. People are making me...
Newspapers will love
Wait,
that
I have a caller.
Auntie Annie wants
Is
to
it Garba or Rasaki? Garba, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Marayo. I have been following you guys for more than 5 years. This is my
Oh, thank you very much, Garba.
Come to the show.
Marayo, Miriam, Ojiabulu, and Nikulapo, all of I greet you people. But
Thank
especially,
you.
let me go this way. My contribution is on the Minister of Humanitarian, Dr. Data Ed.
Minister what?
He has a very big strength.
Humanitarian.
Okay.
I'm using this platform to cry for the plight of our beneficiaries. I get someone that is close to me, and he's a teacher. This is since January to get, they have not been paid their system, which is unfair. Let me tell you something, Marayo. If they pay those young men, that specific consumption system, I'm telling you, it will go around our economy. I know what they are concerned.
Can't hear him.
Please, I'm urging our city, enter office, we try and go.
It's not very clear, Garba. I do apologize. We couldn't hear you very clearly. Somebody was going to jump in.
I was going to confess
yes.
that if it was me, that it is my ex that becomes minister,
you will greet him.
I will definitely greet him. Ah, there you
What kind
I'm
of
still
ex?
suffering.
If it was an ex that was mean to you.
Anyone. Any ex.
Exactly. So let's not pretend. No, we talk about speaking mouth here. If they make YK Minister of Tourism tomorrow, you will not now go and beat YK.
We are just saying it's not right. But I must confess, I will do the wrong thing.
I'm still selling land and
I will do the wrong thing.
But you hope that the minister, who is your ex, will say there's a system.
Yes.
Go
that due process.
We hope not.
Oh my God, YK.
Are you terrible?
Oh God.
Let me take Benjamin.
I don't want to lie.
We the people.
Let me take Benjamin. Good morning, Benjamin.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live.
I hope not.
Okay. My mom, she's a fan of you ladies.
Thank you. Regards to her.
Yeah. My problem is the Minister of FCT, Wiki. Just like one of your callers said that it's wrong for him by just getting to the ministry and start running some, let's say, program of the FCT without him settling down to know the real issue. Like most of the his program that he's trying to bring out is something that is going to benefit the elite. Abuja is a place that is not only for the rich, but I just want him, let him focus on the poor people in FCT. And one thing about FCT, they have cameras. I think that they should work on their cameras, their CCTV camera. It's very important. It's something that can.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. That's great feedback to the Minister of FCT. It's important. We shouldn't just work on the Maitama area and all the highbrow areas. Just work also on the outskirts and also ensure that the CCTV's camera begins to work.
It's not just about knocking down structures.
But you should knock down structures that are illegal.
I'm not saying don't knock down
I know what Lagos is going through right now. People have been built houses for years, 20, 30 years. They're now demolishing houses. And they're demolishing houses because governance did not meet them many years ago. They just went to kind of build houses in different places that they shouldn't be building houses. So we are already suffering for it in Lagos. So FCT cannot be like that. And that's what he's trying to ensure, that people who are taking advantage, they've done it in their own various states and not coming to FCT to come and just take advantage. You can't do that in FCT. So that's what we're trying to do.
I agree. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying it's not just about knocking down structures. It's also about actually
expanding the city.
I think he should take a leaf from when Paul went to the church I can't remember, and he said to them, he said he first told them the good about themselves before he now explained to them the bad things that they have done. So tell us, give us the hope message. When I come, I'll make sure the lights work. The outskirts will not be left without development, And then eventually, all these illegal structures will be taken down. Then it looks like, oh, okay, this person wants to work with us.
But do you know that this announcement from Wiki can cause people to quickly go and regularize their documentation?
Exactly.
They rush by this morning. Everybody has gone to go and make sure that they have the documentation properly correct, because somebody has announced that I'm going to start demolishing. So that's Nigeria. We like all this.
Oh, you have put people on the defensive and they're waiting to see how far you go.
No, because
so he too has to be on top of it. If it's an illegal structure, if it comes to his table and they're just trying, because he must make sure that every.
I have a caller from FCT. Umar, thanks for calling.
Let's hear FCT people.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Thank you, ladies, for the nice job you are doing. Murayo, I want to really, you as a person, you don't normally pick my calls. You will keep me waiting at the end of the day.
She doesn't pick calls.
I don't pick calls on live TV. We have a back end that picks the calls.
Somebody else will pick calls, but you will not.
Sorry, Mr. Omar. I apologize. I sincerely apologize.
I want to contribute to this your topic.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Topic you are discussing this morning. The truth of the whole thing is, YK, if I want to refer to YK, you say because he's your ex, it might not be maybe you're a friend of your person, that your former ex
is reappointed, or your former friend is reappointed as a minister or any other position at all, you will not congratulate that person. I, as a person, I will look at you as an enemy. No matter what, as long as that person has been given an appointment, it does not really mean that you are going to get favor from that person. No. You will call to congratulate. You might even see they are advising or her on what I want to do, what he or she does not know. Congratulating somebody does not really mean you are looking for favor from that person.
All right. Thank you very much, Umar. We have to wrap up.
You can call, but it doesn't mean that you're calling because you want favor. See, there's nothing wrong with calling.
Yes, let's not assume it's because of favors. Yes, I can just send a message to your ex and say, hey, hi, whatever. Anyway, we have to...
I'm here.
We have to wrap up on this.
Remember me.
Let's just use this opportunity
in your paradise.
to congratulate all the ministers, and Nigerians are expectant, and we hope that indeed they work hard and they are transparent and they don't apply ethnicity or religious beliefs in this work they're doing. They should focus on Nigeria, because the president has said, has sold renewed hope to us.
Yep.
And we're hoping that they will carry that renewed hope torch and not be, you know, doing things that we don't expect. Anyway, that's all we can take on this segment.
Call them out.
When we return, it's our Tuesday when we discuss health. We're going to be having a talk on diphtheria. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. August is Immunization Awareness Month. Today we will be discussing diphtheria and other preventable diseases killing Nigerians because we do not take immunizations very seriously. Joining us to discuss the main causes, symptoms, and treatment is the infectious disease expert himself, Dr. Japhet Olugbogi in the building.
Yo.
For those of you that don't know Dr. Japhet, he was very, very prominent during COVID. And he was looking very, very scruffy. Fast forward now. Like, you are looking on point and everything.
Okay, well. You guys were taking me out of my house 5 a.m. every day for 3 months and tops.
Ogaboya, cleaned up. Lagos is doing you well.
Yeah.
Lagos is really doing you well. I'm happy
Lagos
you've not
is the
jackpot.
place.
You've not jackpot. Please don't jackpot. Just be shiny like this.
Well, you have to motivate me.
Motivate you. Anyway, let's
you now.
diphtheria. I mean, we've been hearing about it, reading about it in the papers for some time now. Tell us what it is exactly, because many people don't even know what it is. We've just been seeing diphtheria in the papers. What is it?
Diphtheria is a bacterial disease. It's a very infectious disease. They call it Corynebacterium diphtheriae. It's a disease of the respiratory tract. Respiratory tract is the nose, the throat, the trachea, and all that. And so it comes from someone who is infected through sneezing and coughing. We call that droplet infection. So when someone who has diphtheria coughs or sneezes, they emit the bacteria onto other people, especially children. It's commoner in children between 2 and 14 years. Although adolescents above 14 years can also have it, or even adults, but it's commoner within that age group. People can also contract it through direct contact with someone who has it, or through in the hospital when they are taking care of someone who has it, or in the homes where we have people who are sick and they are being taken care of by their family members. So diphtheria, respiratory tract infectious disease, communicable disease, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Although there are other strains of that bacteria, but the one that causes the problem is the one called Corynebacterium diphtheriae.
I mean, just very recently, we've been hearing all sorts of alarming stories coming out of children who are dying or in hospital because of diphtheria. And as far as I know, it's supposed to be one of the immunizations you get, even free, from government hospitals what has caused these numbers to grow, and why do we have like a new infection, a wave of this diphtheria recently?
Well, thank you very much. The COVID-19 pandemic, it can be, likened to that, because during the COVID-19 pandemic, there was lockdown. A lot of children could not go to the hospitals. A lot of parents could not take their children to the hospital. So they were denied access to routine immunization. And of course, like you rightly mentioned, diphtheria is one of the preventable diseases with routine immunization. So because these children could not have access to routine immunization, we have a low coverage of routine immunization in Nigeria nationally. Of course, it's all over the world, but of course, sub-Saharan Africa is usually the hotspot for this kind of troubles when we have low coverage of routine immunization. So undernourishment as well, when children don't get enough to eat, and we have internally displaced people in Nigeria, a lot of activities due to banditry and all that. So we have a lot of children in Nigeria. I think WHO pegs is about to about 6.2 million children between 2019 and now who lack access to routine immunization. And this is one of the cogent reasons why we are having an upsurge of routine diseases that ought to have been prevented by immunization.
So 2020 to now is just 3 years. So if the kids have had their immunization before and they are put in contact with someone who has diphtheria or someone who has it sneezes on them, will they catch it?
Well, what happens with diphtheria is that even some children who have had their immunization can still have diphtheria because the bacteria is there. Human beings are the only host to the bacteria. So the bacteria is like a commensal, that is something that lives there. But when they start releasing toxins, and that happens when our immunization is not up to date. And let's not forget that the immunization may even be there and not complete. The full dosage ought to be 3 dosages at 6, 10, and 14 weeks. But we ought to give those children a booster dose after every 10 years. Yes, so they may be fully vaccinated. They may be vaccinated and not fully vaccinated. They may even be fully vaccinated and still have the infection. But then again, the people who are fully vaccinated have a high, opportunity to ward off the infection.
So you say after 10 years, do you mean that me too, I should have been taken every 10 years?
Why
it's assumed that as an adult, your immune system, your immune level is, very high, compared to children. So we should think that you have some form of immunity against it, but, compared to children.
Because when you say 10 years, it's 10 years, then the next 10 years is 20.
Yes, of course, you should get a booster dose. But I suppose you should have gotten the booster dose because it's in the, it's in the TB vaccine. That
you mean as a child?
Pregnant women. So we give pregnant women 5 doses of TB vaccine. So you should have gotten your own booster dose in that. So you should be covered. It's children that I worry about. Fantastic question. Men don't have that opportunity, especially in Nigeria, because we don't have that TB vaccine designed for them. Because, when they want to prioritize some of these vaccines, they prioritize those who are most vulnerable to that particular disease. So women who are pregnant, attend antenatal care visits, get their TB vaccines, they get their shots of TB vaccines, but men don't get that. So men are vulnerable to it. And then I remember earlier on in the year when we went for this diphtheria surveillance and outbreak national guideline review, it was one of the things we recommended that men, especially those who are health workers, those who are prone or could be prone to getting the infection, should be allowed to have some form of booster dose against diphtheria.
Okay.
Interesting. You know, when we take these stories, we hear the spread. What would you feel is the best line of action to curb the spread? Are there states where there's no diphtheria, and how can they ensure that it doesn't get into their states?
Yes, of course, there are states where there's no diphtheria because it's only in about 3 LGAs in the country. And, there are about 8 states where we have the highest burden of the diphtheria outbreak, although FCT and Cross River are being reported to have joined them now. So there are other states that don't have the outbreak yet. And right now, they should be sensitizing, just like we are doing now. They should be sensitizing, holding stakeholders, community engagement, you know, activating their SMCs, their social mobilization committees, to create the awareness to the people so that those who are hesitant and skeptical about taking vaccines for their children can go ahead and ensure that they get vaccines for their children, because it is actually preventable if children could be vaccinated. 3 doses of the vaccines at 6, 10, and 14 weeks. It could actually be prevented. But I'm aware that right now, the NPACDA, in collaboration with state executive primary care boards, are organizing some form of catch-up immunization activity. And this will enable children that have missed out on the vaccines to be able to get their vaccines. And the pentavalent, which is the vaccine that contains the diphtheria vaccines, is one of the antigens that are being given. This is organized like an outreach. That is, they are taking it to where people live, where people reside, in markets, in shops, in churches, in mosques, and all that. So this is one of the strategies that are being rolled out to ensure that the outbreak does not spread further to other states or even further within a particular state.
I have a question from our YouTube viewers. Somebody was asking that you should talk about the fact that they're assuming that the reason diphtheria is high in Kano, Kaduna, is because they refuse to take the immunization as opposed to COVID. Is an allegation. They also asked that you should talk about the newfound strain of COVID in the UK and what the implication might be for us in Nigeria.
In the northern part of the country, we've always had vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem. I'm aware that the government has done a lot, talking to traditional rulers, community, and doing community engagement, talking to influencers in the communities to ensure that people bring their children out to the health centers, or they allow those who are taking the vaccines to their homes. So it's a huge problem, but of course it's not limited to the north alone. We still have vaccine hesitancy even here in Lagos. There are people, there are people who do not want to give the vaccines to their children for one reason or the other. I think one thing we should be saying to people is that these vaccines are safe, and they're being given to Nigeria by partners. Nigeria also doing its part to ensure that her children are, vaccinated and protected against diseases that ought not, kill children in the first place. So we should encourage our neighbors, our friends, our wives, our, in-laws, whatever, to ensure that they take their children to the various PHCs to vaccinate children. As per the new strain, of course, we always have new strains in bacteria, new strains in viruses, and, the COVID-19 example is still very rife in our memories, and, I believe that the healthcare systems all over the world are now prepared to deal with all sorts of new strains of bacteria, of viruses that may spring up, and that is why they've tagged them now as emerging diseases and re-emerging infectious diseases.
Okay, any questions on social media?
So, of course, there's the social media people, they are asking that why the men in medicine, they should be working more on how to develop the vaccines for men. Someone is asking, what do you look forward to with the Minister for Health and the work that you expect them
Yes,
to do?
it's true. We should.
Yes, to correct the notion, there's actually vaccine for men, which is the Tdap and DTaP. But what we should be saying is that we should make it available. I'm not quite sure we have that Tdap in the country as we speak. We should make it available for men to have access to it. But then again, it's all about funding and finances. What we look forward,
soldiers, you don't
yes, what we look forward to from the new Minister of Health, well, it's an erudite professor. It's someone who has the expertise to do what is needed. I would personally like to see a more reformed health sector in Nigeria, not just funded, but reorganize and ensure that things are in place where they ought to be in place. I think if we can do that, we can improve our health systems, because the building blocks of the health systems in the first place are financing, the workforce, the leadership, policy, governance, and all that. So if we can get all those right, I'm sure we can move the healthcare sector.
So is there a treatment for if you catch this disease? Is there a treatment and a permanent treatment, curable? Is it life-threatening?
Diphtheria is life-threatening. The case fatality ratio, that is, if 10 people have it, at least one of them may die from. Yes. So the case fatality ratio is about 10%, but it's treatable, absolutely treatable. Okay. There is the diphtheria antitoxin, which can be used to treat it, which is very good to treat it. There's also antibiotics. The physicians have antibiotics that they can use to treat, and they're often effective if the cases are caught on time, and if the children who have this diphtheria are taken to where they ought to get treatment on time.
I'm happy, sorry, Miriam. I'm happy you mentioned antibiotics, because in the Western world, I'll talk about England because my grandkids are there, they do not like to prescribe antibiotics to children, even adults, But here, we seem to prescribe antibiotics all the time. And a lot of times when they even prescribe antibiotics, they will give you probiotics as well, because antibiotics are actually killing some cells in the... Why is it
there are some instances where you can do what we call watchful waiting when someone has an infection. Watchful waiting in the sense that if it's not so bad, you give supportive treatment like paracetamol, ensure the person is well hydrated, ensure the person has other things that the person needs. So when you do that watchful waiting, the body can take over and win over the infection. But most times when it comes to bacteria, you have to give an antibiotics. And the treatment in diphtheria I'm talking about is not some form of antibiotic that they will give the mother, or take home and go and take. No. They will administer it in the hospital. So if a child has diphtheria in the UK, I am quite sure they're going to administer the 8 years or administer antibiotics.
So, you talked about them being highly infectious, and I was wondering, during what period are they most infectious? When they're on treatment, can they still infect someone else? Person caring for them, can that person still?
A fantastic question. When someone who has diphtheria, when a child who has diphtheria has been on antibiotics for about 48 hours, they should no longer infect other people anymore.
Okay.
By that time, the infection is a bit docile.
Fortunately, we have to wrap up. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure having you, Doctor, here with us.
Thank you for having me too.
That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.